Jovan, what does that mean moving forward for this team, both the rest of the season and beyond?
Well, so I looked it up last night on my show, and I just looked up the updated numbers. So if we look at, because we could obviously split them individually, but I think in general, the Lakers are, especially in a playoff context, either going to have 3 or 2 of the big 3 on for most minutes, right? Like there might occasionally be a Luka only stretch or a LeBron only stretch, but I think all the 3 of those guys are going to be in the high 30s minutes, if not around the 40. I mean, Luka will probably be like 40, 42 minutes a night. So you're going to have some overlap there, right? Like it's primarily going to be a combination of 2 or a combination of the 3. And looking at the lineup data so far, with the 3 on, or with some combination of LeBron and Luka or LeBron and Austin. So 3 of the 4 2 or 3 man combinations. They have a 121 or worse defensive rating, which would be the worst defense in the NBA. So I think to summarize it as succinctly as possible, they cannot defend with the big 3 on the floor, or when LeBron has been one of the 2 guys with one of the other stars. They've been great with Luka and Austin as the only 2 guys. They have a 108 defensive rating, which would be the second best defense in the NBA behind only OKC. I don't think that is sustainable. I think there's some noise within that. But certainly with LeBron off, the Luka and Austin on, I mean, they have a plus 19 net rating with those 2 on and no LeBron. So like that, I think they need to lean more into the Luka Austin groupings. And then LeBron of the individual guys has been the best in terms of like by himself. That the Lakers are plus 9 with LeBron on solo. So like, I think there's a natural way to divvy this up of, I think you're going to start the big 3 and they're going to play like, beginning of the first quarter, beginning of the third quarter. They're going to have to close together basically like end of fourth. And then you might close like end of second with them. But outside of that, I think you need to stagger them as much as humanly possible and really lean into the Luka AR pairing, and then also lean into LeBron, as we've seen some of these bench groups with LeBron, a bunch of size, a bunch of athleticism, a bunch of motor, and those groups playing zone. One thing I will note, and I will kick this back to you guys, going through the data, it is a relatively small sample size. It's not at the 250 mark that JJ has referenced, but with the big 3 on and DeAndre Ayton as the center, the Lakers have a 124 defensive rating, which is mind-boggling. Bad. It's bad. It's atrocious, right? With Jackson on, they have a 115.5 defensive rating. And so that's nearly a 9-point swing. And I do wonder if, politics aside and just like what's best for the team, and with how DA's been playing the last couple of months, are we getting to a point where they have to consider potentially going back to Jackson as the starting center? And like they were much better defensively last year in the minutes that Jackson was the starting center compared to this year. I think we're starting to get to that point where you have to consider, like, that's more of a Hail Mary. Like you are risking losing DA and him checking out and like all the bad things that you've heard about him in Portland and Phoenix rearing up as a backup. But like, if we're being completely honest about the performance up to this point, I think Jackson's been their best center over the past 2 months. And the lineup data, while limited, does support there's a pretty big defensive shift there with Jackson with the big 3 versus DA.
All right, quick break. And this one's actually something I've been using personally. Cold days, big games, busy schedule, no time to cook. That's why I've been rocking with Factor. I've been ordering their Protein Plus meals, especially the grilled chicken with roasted veggies. Perfect for me because I'm trying to keep my energy high for shows without feeling heavy after eating. What I like about Factor, quality ingredients, lean proteins, real veggies, whole food fats, no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, no refined seed oils, and it fits the schedule. They've got 100 rotating meals weekly: keto, calorie smart, Mediterranean, GLP-1 support, even a new Muscle Pro collection for strength and recovery. And the convenience is crazy. Always fresh, never frozen, ready in about 2 minutes. No prep, no stress. I use this, and you guys should too, especially if you're balancing work, school, gym, and Lakers games every night. Head to factormeals.com/LakersPod50off and use code LakersPod50off to get your 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for a year. That's 50% off and a free breakfast item in every box for a year while your subscription is still active.
Jason, if they did that, if they went and moved DA out of the starting lineup, would he just collapse in on himself like a dying star?
Probably, but I mean, what
Yeah.
what did he do last night then? You know what I mean? Like
True.
at a certain point, I'm with Jovan. Like at a certain point, I think it's just like anything else. You owe situations like this a long runway, but we've had a long runway at this point. And I think we're entering into the territory of like, okay, this team is going to be fundamentally different next year. Like you're going to have, in all likelihood, several different role players, maybe one or two different starters. LeBron could very well not be on the team anymore next year. So this is now looking like a very much in a vacuum type of season. This season is its own entity and its own separate thing. And so I no longer think you have to care about Ayton's feelings. And frankly, if you're planning on trying to trade him and or not using him next season anyway, then I think it makes some sense to, maybe send that message within this season. I don't think necessarily I would make the swap yet. I would just be quicker with the hook. I would just, with everything with JJ, I would just be quick to pull Ayton, which by the way, he has been for a long time now. And
Except for the
I mean,
Clippers game.
like we saw yesterday, I mean, Jackson gets hurt and you still just end up going small a ton instead of bumping up Ayton's minutes. He only plays 25 minutes. So like, I think in general, it's just about being quick with the hook.
Yeah, I agree. And JJ has been pretty proactive. I mean, aside from the Clippers game where DA played 28 minutes to close the game, all of that, it's been more minutes going to Jackson Hayes. We've seen the pecking order be, at least to close games, it's been Jackson Hayes / small ball in whatever order you want. And then sometimes Maxey and then DA. He's been either the third or the fourth preferred option in terms of closing out games. I don't know that you need to make this swap right now. In terms of,
I think the only thing I'll quickly say, I don't mean to interrupt. I think like we focused a lot on the Luka LeBron Rui pairing or trio and the defensive struggles with those three and how like I think those three should just never play together, just straight up. But like, they've definitely reduced the minutes of those three. I think it's a similar, like, and Jason just laid it out with that lineup that played last night together. I think it's similarly problematic of when you have, if Luka, LeBron, and DA are your three helpers and low men in a defensive group, I just think your floor is basically non-existent. And so I'm also kind of like, I think you have to play Luka and LeBron together because they are two of the three best players on the team. Again, they're going to play a certain amount of time together. You can't change that. But I think you have to think about what you're putting around those guys. And for as concerning as I think the Luka, LeBron, Rui minutes have been, I think DA also within that, like the lineup data is right there where with DA, it's basically been just as bad as with Rui in there. So it's like, if we're going to make the case that Luka, LeBron, and Rui, you don't have enough perimeter defense, I think Luka, LeBron, and DA, you don't have enough frontline defense. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think JJ is going to pull the plug, but I think we have a growing sample size here of like, I think you need to reduce those minutes a lot and potentially even eliminate them. But I don't think that's going to happen.
To your point, it's only 113 possessions, but Luka, LeBron, and Austin on the floor together without DeAndre Ayton, they're a plus 2.4 in 113 possessions. And again, tiny sample size, 113.
Better than minus 10.
Better than minus 10. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What does this say when we look at this big three? In terms of the long-term future for this group, the fact that we're talking about, well, you have to split up LeBron as his own entity. LeBron and the Banshees needs to be a team effectively. And then Luka and Austin needs to be a thing too. And you need to prioritize those things. Guys, aren't you just inherently screwed if that's the case? Right? Like you should be at your best with your three best players on the floor, right?
Yes, they are screwed.
I mean, like that's what it drills down to though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, as a team construct.
Sorry, go ahead, Jason. Go ahead,
No,
Jason.
you're fine. As a team construct, I think again, I think in the regular season it is borderline impossible to sustain anything with that group, just simply because of, again, it's not a habit. I've seen Luka and LeBron both, even LeBron at his age, be able to tighten up and be a very good backline defender and rebounder for spurts, particularly at the end of games. But there's just a lack of possession to possession floor, like Jovan said. It's just the what you actually need every single possession in order to sustain a decent defensive rating is like these certain jobs that get done every time, and they're just not getting done.